Hi, Rye. Hopefully you feel better. All right, homework is 9-7. It's very short. Yeah, let's go over this.
The only problem with my most excellent meatloaf is it's so much cheaper than everything else on the menu, and everyone keeps ordering it. Maybe I need to add something really expensive to the recipe so I can bump up the price.
So stores actually do this sometimes, like restaurants. A lot of times there's a fixed like method of how they mark up their prices or how they make their menu prices. So if you want to increase the price of a dish, you might add something expensive. Like who's ever had truffle fries? So truffles are expensive. So when you look at like, oh, French fries, they're really cheap. They're potatoes. Potatoes are cheap. But then they decided, well, how can we make French fries that cost a lot and people will still pay for them? Well, if you put truffles on them, which are like some delicacy or whatever, and all they do is they like grate it on top, like really finely shred it, and they put very little on it. But because it's there, they can charge more. So that's what he's talking about. His most excellent meatloaf is pretty cheap. It's $5.50 for a meatloaf dinner. That's cheap for a dinner. Real quick.
So I actually have a connection to that. I went to Whole Foods, and so I really like morel mushrooms because they're delicious. If you go to Whole Foods for a pound of morel mushrooms, it's about $288.
Yep. Because they don't weigh a lot. So like a pound would be a lot of mushrooms. So they really probably normally sell them like by the ounce, something like that. Yeah.
They could just like fry the truffles and then they could charge a lot.
Right.
They could
Yeah.
charge even more. Well, at Taco Bell, they make you pay for more if you want like extra sauce. I don't yeah.
Why don't you just go
Yeah, I would know that. If you want extra sauce, they make you pay more because it's more of that ingredient.
Because they're that's like.
But at McDonald's.
Well, and that also sometimes depends on who's ringing you up if they care. Because like I've been to Chipotle with my friends that get like an extra burrito, and I've seen it. They charge them extra, like an extra wrap, and I've seen where they don't, just because like they don't pay attention or they don't care. Real quick, then we gotta go.
Also at Taco Bell, like so we usually get like bean stuff for the vegetarian. So
Yeah.
we like switch out
Yeah, swap out the meat for the
So usually we get it like for free, like no charge.
Sometimes they charge you though, right? Yeah, my wife does the same thing. She doesn't eat meat, so she'll swap out like exchange out the beef for rice or beef for beans, and like sometimes it just comes in a swap like on the menu, like on the screen that you can see, and sometimes it comes as an upcharge because they'll say delete this, add this. So instead of doing a swap, if they put it in as an add, then they charge you more because it's giving you additional something. But they shouldn't really ring it up that way. So, two friends agree to each pay half for their most excellent meatloaf dinners and a 20% tip. And each friend only brought with them $8.50. So you're going to figure out, do they have enough money? Are they going to be able to tip 20%? So I want to see if you guys remember. Try to calculate the tip. Think about what do we calculate the tip off of. And then figure out what will everything be, total, tip, all included. Because if they both have $8.50, how much money do they have together?
$17.
Yeah, $17. So if their total's under 17, they're okay. If it's over 17, they're not going to be able to tip as much. So you already know the meatloafs and their sodas, their subtotal's $13. Their tax was $1.30. So this would be what tax rate? Who can quickly identify if their tax is $1.30 and their subtotal was 13? What's the tax? Well, what's 0.1?
110.
And what is that as a percent?
10%.
So their tax rate is 10% wherever they are. High tax rate. Up in New York and those upper states, even over 10%.
Yeah, it's like 7 here.
Yeah, it's 7 here because we're pretty standard. It gets as low as 5 in some states. Zach asked a very good question that would remind you of what to do. Zach, ask that question to your class. See if they can remember.
Is the tip on the subtotal or the total?
It is on the total. Look at the total.
Tip?
The tip. You want a tip that you leave.
Oh, the tip. Oh, I thought it was.
Noah's got his hand up.
It's on the subtotal.
don't tax based off the tip. Or, yeah, other way. Swap the words I just said. You don't tip off the tax. That would be dumb. You're tipping for what you bought. So you're tipping based off of the $13. So when you calculate your tip, you're going to calculate the 20% of that subtotal. Sheep? No. Solve it for you. We're giving people time to solve. You should not have needed a calculator for this.
That was easy, yeah.
Yeah, that's easy. Okay.
Why did we not need a calculator for this? And it's something that we already kind of talked about.
What's the Spanish word for easy?
What was your tax, Shahid? If we just said that the tax is 10% and the tip is 20%, well, your tip would just be double what that tax was. So it's going to be $2.60. So then when we bring it down and add it to our bill, because guys, a lot of times you leave the tip just on the table. If you're paying in cash, you just leave the money on the table. No one's going to come tell you what you owe extra, because tipping is just polite. You don't have to tip, but you'd be a giant jerk and probably get spit in your soup if you don't. So we add all that up and get a total of our subtotal, our tax, and our tip included will be $16.90. So those friends, if they wanted to be very nice, they would just leave the whole $17. They just say, and that's when, have you ever been to a restaurant and your parents pay with cash and the waiter or waitress comes up and they say, oh, we're all good, or that's all you, or like, we don't need change? That's what you do sometimes. And a lot of your parents probably don't pay in cash. My mother-in-law operates a lot in cash just because it's like easier to see everything. So that's what we've gotten very used to. You keep some small bills in your wallet so you can you can pay what you want. Because if I have a bill like this and I give them a 20, I'm probably not going to leave them my whole 20. But if I have the right money to leave $17, I'll just leave $17 and say, hey, we're good. That's all you. Make sense?
So you give them $17?
Yeah, because then, so they'll bring you the bill, like in a black thing normally, like leather. You open it up and there's your receipt and everything. And if you have a credit card, you'd sign it. You'd put in your credit card. They'd go swipe it. They bring it back to you. You have to sign it. But if it's cash that you're paying with, the thing they brought you, you can just stick your cash inside of it and leave. If you've paid, you can just walk out. If your money is there. Now the only risk is somebody could walk up to your table and swipe your money before they get to your table. So a lot of times I'll hand it to the server so I know they got it and say, I don't need change. We're good. And then they know that people know that means that that's your tip. Whatever's left over after you pay for the meal, that's all your tip. Your server knows that. No?
The question is, would you rather lose $3 and get spit in your soup?
Yeah, right. And that's kind of a joke of what people would do to your food. But you do have to wonder, if you're really rude to the people bringing you your food, I don't know. I wouldn't trust it. Why are you not working? Olivia.
Okay. So, like this, if you had $16.90 and you gave them $17, their tip would be 10 cents.
No. So we already added the tip on when we got this $16.90 up here. So we would give them an extra 10 cents on top of what we've already tipped. But if I really want to only tip 20%, then I'll get my change of a dime. Something is going on. I don't know why this is not functioning. So we're going to go the backdoor method.
This is, guys, this is it's the whole page. And this is
This probably looks a lot like what.
Thanks for inviting me to the race. This is really fun.
What?
This is really fun.
You want to go for a run?
Never mind.
What's the whole point of like that little clip? Races are
Loud.
really loud. You like can't hear anything. So, you bought 2 tickets to a stock car race. Each ticket cost $17.25. You paid a total of $38.50, which included an online service fee. Anyone ever buy tickets for a concert or anything online? See that it always ends up being more than what you expected because there's tax, but there's also a lot of times what they say is a service fee or a convenience charge, or they've got all kinds of names for it.
Make money?
So that is essentially, so I can go to Kroger and buy the tickets for the concert that I want to go to. But the concert's not at Kroger. So the point is, Kroger, for selling the tickets, for providing that service, is going to make a little bit of money. So the ticket money goes to the place where the concert is. The tax goes to the state. For Kroger to make money, they add on a fee. Or for the website where you buy your ticket to make money, they add on a fee. So that's...
Is it like if you bought your zoo membership, because you can buy your zoo membership?
Yeah, at the zoo or like at... Yeah.
Would it be more if you bought it at
I
the zoo?
don't know.
or
Since
at
the zoo is local, I don't know. There may not be a service fee for zoo memberships.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's different than a ticket, than like a one-time ticket, because a membership, they know they're going to make money off you other ways. So if we bought 2 of these tickets, what would the price of just the tickets be? Taylor? $34.50, right? So if my total here was actually $38.50, then to find how much my fee was, I can take the $38.50, subtract away what we paid or what we should have paid for the tickets, and I find out that my fee is $4. Now, how do I figure out what that is as a percent increase to the original price of the ticket? Gonna start using cards here. Carrie, do you have any idea? We want to find a percent, so division is kind of obvious. We want to say $4 is an increase in our ticket price. So we're doing percent increase or percent change. Can you tell me even the words of what divides by what to find percent change? Don't give me numbers. You can pass. All I gotta know is okay. Olivia?
Okay, can I give you numbers?
I'm gonna write the words first.
Okay.
But sure, give me numbers.
34.50 divided by 4.
4, the change always goes on top, divided by, I like to say the previous. Sorry, there's a U there. So the previous price before the charge, just like Olivia said, just kind of backwards, was $34.50. So I take the change that happened divided by what the price was. That gives me a decimal value of 0. I know, it's because you're on an iPhone. It takes longer. Caleb?
It's if you round up, it's approximately 12%.
So, Shahid, what'd you get as the actual decimal? 0.1. 0.115. Okay, so that's when then I look at I move 2 places, and it would round up to approximately 12%. Questions? You find out what is the amount of increase, then divide that by what the cost of the tickets were before the increase. Make sense? Good. Do the got it on your own.
It makes dollars.
Ah, I was waiting for someone to do that.
Did they see this on the video?
No.
Did they hear the sound?
Actually, they might. I don't know.
We should watch it, the whole video. Next time in class.
Hey Seth, how about you solve this problem? Considering you have absolutely nothing written down so far, that's really frustrating for me. You need to write down the work for this problem before you ever try to solve it on your own. James, you need to stop writing down just answers. You need to have the work accompanied with it. Because all you're doing is being lazy. Guys, I have a wall of calculators, literally 12 steps away.
Nate's counting, I think.
No,
I guarantee I can get there in less than 12.
I'm gonna keep my shoes quiet. I got shoelaces.
Compare with a neighbor once you think you have it. Compare with a neighbor once you think you have it. All right, Peyton, I've seen you confer with multiple people. Can you talk me through this?
No.
Are you passing?
Yeah.
All right, Shahid, were you able to talk me through
Oh,
this?
dang, I did it wrong. Yeah, I have that, but I'm not done.
No one's confirmed.
Okay, so,
No, I'll try it.
fine, we'll bounce back to you. Shahib said he's already got this. He found out all 3 tickets together. Then you find out the difference between the prices. What do I do with my $23.10?
Guess. You do $23.10 divided by. There you go. Your original.
Which was?
330. Did you get it right?
Yes, you got it right.
I did it.
What do you get? 0 point?
0.07.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then we move our decimal 2 places. And we get
7%.
7%.
Yay.
Cheap.
I made a mistake
Okay.
because I did divided by 110 and then I divided 21.
That's why you got to be very careful with how you do this division, this math.
Then I divided the 21% by 3.
Now, the only way that you would have used the 110 was if you had come up here and divided this by 3 to find out the fee per ticket. But this is the fee for all 3 tickets. So we're going to divide that by the price of all 3 tickets. So that's where you could have used the 110, but you would have had to do some other math first.
So the 23.10.
That's your fee or the change.
For all 3.
Yeah, because look, if the total that you paid was $353.10, that must be the fee for all 3. Or maybe that's the fee for the order. Like there's just a fee for we don't know. What we know is the price would have been $330 and instead it was $353.10. So we know the fee was $23.10. Questions? Comments, concerns?
It makes sense.
It was funny the first time.
It makes bird sense. No, it's gonna be funny every single time.
So, we have Kat here. Kit and Kat are always arguing. Kat says the number increased, or the number 100 increased by 20%. The result is then decreased by 20%. And what's the final answer? Now, Kat says the final answer has to be 100. Duh. Well, I did the same thing. I went up by 20%, went down by 20%. I want you to solve this. We've discussed this. We discussed this last week. I want you to solve this and determine, is Kat correct?
Okay.
Ooh, bro. Give time. Give time. So two-stepper. First thing you do is increase it by 20%, find your new answer, then take that answer and decrease by 20%. If you got the example done, go ahead and move on to the got it, which is the same sort of increase then decrease system.
We shouldn't really need a calculator for the first.
You kind of will when you get to the decrease, depending on how good your math is.
Oh, I don't think I got the right answer. But
Wait, I changed the wrong order.
What?
What do you do?
Well, step one should be easy. To increase by 20%, when I increase by 20%, I know that that's actually going to be 120% of what it was, which will equal 120. Or we could have found 20% of 100 is 20. Then we take 100, add the 20, and we get 120. Either way, my first answer is 120. Zach, what do I do next?
So, if you did 120 times 0.2, it would give you 24. So then you would subtract 120 by 24, which would give you 96. Correct?
Correct.
So, is Kat correct?
No.
No, she's making the simple mistake that most people make, thinking that percent increases and percent decreases do the same thing, which is absolutely not correct. Because once we do the increase, I have a new value to work from, so my 20% of that new value, totally different.
How'd you get 24?
I did 20% of my new value, my 120. Because we have to find the initial increased value first. 120 times 0.20, which is 20%, gives me 24. With me now?
I thought the dots were like above each other.
No, this is multiplication, and that's a decimal.
Okay.
So it might be easier if I write 0.20. Do the same thing for Kit. Kit believes that if you increase an amount by 100% and then decrease it by 50%, he says, well, the final answer is 150 because the percent increase gives you 200 and then the percent decrease gives you 150. Is he correct?
No. Wait, is that their ship name? Kit
Huh?
Kat?
Yeah, Kit and Kat. It's a joke.
Kit Kat.
Pearson thinks they're funny.
Well, they're so cheesy that they're funny.
Leah? Question or answer? Answer. All right, so your step one here. What'd you get when you increased by 100%?
I got 200.
Yeah, because another way to talk about increasing by 100% is to say we actually double. So that gives us 200. Then, what's another way, Leah, to talk about decreasing by 50%? Yeah, we're going to half it. So what do we get after the decrease? 100. We've talked about this a lot. A retail store would have to price up their items by 100% in order to be able to mark it down by 50%. But then they would not make any money. So they normally price it up by 150% or 200% or even 300% so that they can mark it down and still make money. A sale is just a manipulation of your brain. That's them having increased their prices so that they could mark it down.
Isn't that basically what Black Friday is?
And actually, I would like our Black Friday unit to be even longer. I'd like us to make a wish list around Halloween or before that. Track the prices starting then and watch a lot of items get more expensive, and that Black Friday they drop down to a sale that's probably a little cheaper than it had been like in September, October, and then the price either goes back up a little bit or continues to go down. I was waiting and so like my wife and I bought a TV last night, but I'm not opening it because if the price goes down, I'm taking it back. If stores realize, oh crap, we didn't sell as much as we wanted to, they'll start marking prices down just to move product because they've got a whole nother shipment coming in January, whatever. Like they've always got more items that they want to put on the floor and sell. The more items you got on the floor, the more money you can make. Questions on the increase, decrease? Zach?
the stores want to just get rid of their stuff, or do they want to make actual money?
Yes. So yes to both, because so if I price an item up and I'm going to make $10 on every item, but because I've priced it up so far, not that many people buy it. Okay, maybe in this classroom 2 of you might buy it, and I'll make $20. But if I price the item up to only make $3, well then I bet you like a good 10 or 12 of you would buy it because it'd be a really good deal. And then if 10 or 12 of you buy it, that's like $30 or $36 in profit that I just made. So I'd rather not have an item sitting on the shelf doing nothing. Ideally, as soon as I put the item on sale, it would sell. Like that would be the ideal situation. So that then I could replace it with a new item and that would sell. And I can replace it with a new item and that would sell. Obviously that doesn't happen. It takes time between putting it on the shelf and it selling. But that's what they would want to happen. As soon as you put it on sale, it goes. For now.
What about the Dollar Tree? Like
They just always have low prices. Yeah, their profit margin is very small. Shahid?
So my dad, he was getting pretty annoyed when we shovel our snow, our neighbors just pushed our snow there. So he's thinking about getting like a snow, it's like this thing.
Blower?
Yeah. And he went there and it said half off, but it looked, when my dad checked recently, a while ago, like I think 2 months ago, it was like, the price went up like triple, and then it said half off.
Yeah, they mark up the price so that then they can do a percentage sale. Yeah, and then you think like, oh crap, half off, that's a great deal.
Yeah, but
You
that's
never really
just-
pay attention to what was the initial price a while ago. Like, yeah, that's exactly what stores do. So some stores price up their items, like we talked about, the markup over the cost. So let's say we have a $10 item. We mark it up $5. So I've marked up $5. My item was 10. I marked it up. Actually, no. Let's say I mark it up. We're going to go crazy. I mark it up $15. That's my percent change. So if I bought it for $10, I'm now selling it for $25, which is actually not that uncommon. So this percent markup would be 150%. However, some stores compute this by saying the amount of markup over what it is being sold for. That would reduce to 3/5 or 60%. Now, this is relatively the same math, the same thing that happens. Why do you think they would use the second formula? Do the amount of markup over the now current selling price. Why do you think they might use that? Sheeb?
I think I might know why, because like they need to see like how much they have to mark it up.
Well, that 60% is not a true markup then. The true markup was 150%. That's how much I increased the price by. But this 60% is saying the markup was 60% of what it costs now. Peyton? That's one way, like that's a good guess. Shahid?
How much of the price?
Is like going to be their profit. That 60% now tells you how much you're able to market down.
Is selling price
If-
like retail?
Yeah, selling price is like what's on the tag, what you're going to pay. So, if I use this formula on bottom, my employees now know I can put this on sale for any percent between 0 and 60. Once I hit 60%, I'm not making money. So we could do a 50% off sale, that'd be fine. This percent is harder to work with. If you say we did a 150% markup on the item, that doesn't tell you what you can mark it down by. You can't mark an item down by 95%. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So this formula on bottom lets them know what they can mark it down by. Now, we're not going to use this a lot, but we just wanted to talk about it so that you understand. Like, some stores will say, oh, there's a 60% markup on this item. Okay, 60% of the current price. as opposed to from what you had paid for it. So that's how stores can kind of manipulate math in their favor. If you understand math, you can do a lot with it to manipulate in your favor.
Woo-hoo! Cowabunga!
Woo! This is what I keep referencing, this surfboard problem that I was like waiting for us to get to. So, I've got board 1. We're going to ignore board 2 and 3 right now. Board 1, $385. It's on sale for 1/4 off. Then we'll deal with sales tax at the end. If I'm getting 1/4 off, what percent is that, Lily? 25. Now, take it a step further. I'll go green for this one since it's the green board. If I have 25% off, what percent is on?
Oh, 75.
75, right? Because this is 100%. I'm saving 25%. So I want you on your paper to put 75%, and you can put it in quotations if you want, on. We can jump right to the sale price by just calculating what percent will you pay. You will pay 75% of what the price should be. So, to do this, we could just say, okay, 0.75 times my 385. I know it's going to be less than the price was because I'm getting a discount. Yep, $288.75. But wait, there's tax. So, this $288.75 is now your price. It's the sale price. It's what you got to pay. What one step could I do to get to the price with the tax? Zach? You're going to pay the price of the item. So even if it's sale price, that's the price of the item. And another 6.25%. Sorry, I'm missing a decimal here. 0.0625. So we could just use 1.0625. Take this down here. And we're going to calculate the price and tax at the same time. Sorry, I did not mean equals. I meant times 288.75. So the 1 here takes care of the price. The tax is just my 0.0625. So the 1 is in there to multiply and give you the initial price. The 0.0625 is giving you the additional tax. So now when we do that, we are going to round. 306, 70, 80 cents essentially it rounds up to. When we round, we get that the board after tax will now be $306.80. Olivia?
So, how do you get the 1? Why is the 1 there?
That's the price. So we are looking at the 1 is the cost that you're actually going to pay. And then the 0.0625 is the tax. So the other way we could have done this, we're not doing board 2, I'm just showing an example, is find just the tax times your 288.75. That just tax would be $21.05. Then we could add that with 288. No, I did my math wrong there. 12 plus 6, 1805. And and that will give us the same final price. So instead of doing 2 steps, a multiplication and then an addition, I can do my addition first by just taking 1 plus your tax.
So will always just be 1 plus. No,
You-
it couldn't be like 5 plus.
No, because the 1 is your price. You're paying 1 times that price and an extra 0.0625 times that price.
So if you were buying 2, you could do 2 plus.
Yeah, you could, because you're gonna pay double the price.
What about freaking read? Like, could it just do
I'd want to check that the tax would come out correctly, but it should, because you're still multiplying by that initial base value. So try the red board and the blue board on your own. Try the red board and the blue board. I would like you to try that method. So with the red board, if it's 40% off, what percent is on? So first thing we have is 60% on. So you could calculate your sale price by using that. Then use your 1.0625. Kind of, yeah. She.
Couldn't you just like? I noticed this is the first board as well. I just did 385 times point 25, and then I got 96.25.
Yeah, and you subtracted it. That's the old method. That's exact. Like we've been doing that method the whole time.
No, I mean like getting like the 20.
Do you understand? Like that's the method we've been doing. I'm trying to show you guys the shortcut method. You don't have to use this, but I'm presenting it as an opportunity that you can use it. Is that question or answer? Of course. You've been like running class today. Question?
For word 3, is it saying if you are trading
So this is the price today, and we're assuming we're going to trade in the old board. So board 2, Zach, what'd you do?
So what I did was okay. You do 450 times 0.4, which would give you 180, and then 450 minus 180.
Yeah, so you took the longer route. If now the other way we could do that is just do the 0.6 times 450, because what'd you get? Like 300 or 200 something? 270. So that's our sale.
And then do 270 times 1.0625.
Yeah, then if I want to jump to price with tax, 1.0625 times the sale price, and you get
286.88. But if you want to find the tax itself, which I did, you do that subtracted by the 270 because that was it without tax, which would be 16.88.
yeah, just the tax is the difference between your 270 and your 286.88. So your tax is just 16.88. You got to catch up, write this stuff down, man. Board 3, Peyton was just asking me, we're assuming that we're going to trade in our old board. Got bit by a shark or something. I don't need it anymore. So, what's the board's price today if I trade in my old board? For board 3, what's its price today? Huh? 275, but there's still tax. So 1.0625, excuse me, to do board price and tax times the subtotal, and that will give us the price after tax. So it looks like our best deal would be board 3, would be our best deal up here. Now I could buy board 2 or board 3 because I have $300.
Yeah.
But board 2 is the best deal.
Those are really cheap.
Yeah.
And really
Yeah, in the world of surfboards, those would be pretty cheap.
And number two is probably the most cheapest one because it's oddly shaped.
My skim board almost cost $200.
Yeah. They were when I was
Yeah, well, and those are probably like nice surfboards.